Ladies and gentlemen, Sunday afternoon. Feels like as we record this on a Sunday afternoon, this feels like this would be like a post-game Sunday Night Football pregame. I don't know what timing right now, John. So we're just, it's May, but this is our OTA, you know? This is our OTA.
OTA, yeah. We were just talking, I was like, if this had been the Lions week, what do? We go live, we wait for Rams Bears. There's a lot of moving parts right now. We're just trying to figure some things out. A little way ahead of ourselves.
Depends how Garoppolo's first half looks. You might be go live at halftime. Jimmy's like 6 for 14.
See, that's what I'm saying. We're already skipping way too many steps. What about when they just go to minicamp together, or and I don't know if that's this week, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I think of some. I was just ended up because someone DM'd me, like, you're just way too hard on Sirianni. He's like, watch his last press conference, and you'll see he got better. So I go back to watch his last press conference. He's improved. Now, slow improvements. It's not like I wouldn't say he's Mike Tomlin in front of the mic. Better. I mean, I lasted through about 5 minutes. But one of the questions was, you're not going to see your team till veteran minicamp, the mandatory one. I do wonder, I'm going to have to look into this more. Did the union collaborate enough to, like, the next 2 weeks are supposed to be voluntary? There's only one mandatory. Are they going to boycott those? It's something to keep an eye on. So I thought that they got overcame by the middle working class, but now I'm not sure.
Well, the Players Association, Florio wrote that, like, whatever, they had phase one, and, I don't know, a third of the players, maybe a little more than a third of the players showed up. Florio basically wrote, we'll see how many players show up for phase two.
Gotcha. Okay, that's because they don't have to show up.
Which, it's fine until you
guy
get hurt at your gym and you lose $21 million because you got cut.
Well, that dude that the Broncos cut, the lineman James?
Yeah.
He was working out at Denver. All cool. During phase one, just on his own, just getting lifts in. The union, once they got loud and like, everyone, we're together. Screw the man. Screw the man. Go work out on your own. So he's like, okay, I'm just following the union leadership. He goes to work out at a gym like down the street because he's not supposed to go to the Denver facility more. And then they fuck him out of $10 million. Now the union is suing on his behalf. Well, it's like, shouldn't he sue you guys? Like, shouldn't you make him whole?
That's why they're suing.
You screwed him. Yeah.
That's why they're suing, because it's coming. So I was talking to a buddy of mine who played in the league, and he told me that one time he got hurt. They put him on the non-football injury list. He got hurt working out. They put him on non-football injury list, and he was kind of pissed. They're like, don't worry, we're just moving some things around. We're not going to do that to you, blah, blah, blah. But they definitely could have, right? Because he wasn't water skiing. He got hurt just out of doing a workout. Maybe pulled a hammy. I don't even know.
Yeah.
But they definitely, like, this is something that everyone's aware of historically, right? Or you should at least be aware of it. Like, this wasn't some loophole that the NFL just threw at the players, right? Like, this is the risk you run when you do this, which is kind of crazy because it's like, what if I live somewhere else? I got to fly in for my workouts, but that's.
Well, I'm working out on behalf of you guys, right? I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you're just working on behalf of yourself. But I agree with you. It's pretty crazy that the NFL has gotten away this long with that existing, and the players not being able to do anything about it, not being able to separate working out for my football career from, jet skiing.
For the last decade, though, I would say with the new CBA, the majority of guys do work out at the facility in the offseason once the offseason phase one starts. So I don't think it's that big of an issue. And I do think the NFL, when the union kind of came together a month ago or whatever and was like, screw these guys, we ain't doing any workouts. And some of the coaches were like, come on, guys, we get it, Tom and Aaron. You don't need to show up, but let the younger guys show up. The NFL used Juwan James from the Broncos as kind of an example. Like, okay, guys, to the union. Like, fuck you guys. You guys are going to play hardball? We'll play hardball back.
It was an easy one.
And then
Tom's a TB12, hasn't pulled a hammy in 30 years.
I did see Florio or someone had wrote, like, the new GM, the guy was making a lot of money. They were kind of looking for a reason. So it wasn't necessarily like the league conspiring against them, like the team would have done this. But still, like, they wouldn't have been able to do it if he was at the facility.
Like, that doesn't change. I don't think the Broncos are trying to make a statement other than, we're saving a bunch of money on a hurt guy who maybe we didn't want anyway. But even if they wanted him, he's a hurt guy who's hurt and expensive.
Away from us when he was working out here for no reason.
All right. Hey, everybody. Don't forget, Go to iTunes. Leave us a review. In that review, leave a question. That's how you get in the weekend mailbag, which we do at the end of the week. So get in the mailbag. Ask us a question, whatever you want it to be. It can be serious. It can be fun. Whatever you want. Get in the weekend mailbag. If you're on the YouTube channel, we got a podcast. If you're listening to the podcast, we got a YouTube channel. If you're already on both, we appreciate it. Subscribe to them, like them. Yeah, all that.
I think you summed it up pretty well.
I thought there was one other thing.
YouTube questions. Tell your friends about our podcast.
That one. That's the thing.
Use our promo codes.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Luda
once said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luda once said a lot of things. Okay. We got a YouTube comment here, John, from Old Man Schwab. Lance versus Fields, Week 10 will be a good watch. It's like he's reading our minds. We can't wait to talk about that coming up in the show today. But, I mean, hey, let's start with this, John. Podcast brought to you in part by MyBookie.ag. Promo code HAM and the number 1. You go to MyBookie.ag. You use promo code HAM1. You get your first deposit bonus by 50%. You can also decline the bonus if you choose, because if you accept the bonus, you got to bet the full amount before you can withdraw funds. Details on the site. But either way, use HAM1. That way they know that we sent you.
Well, guy, mybookie.ag, promo code HAM1. Do you know what's happening this week? I don't know, a little thing called a golf major, PGA Championship. Oh, we're recording this a little before the game, but Warriors-Lakers, probably, more than likely, Wednesday night. You can get your gamble on. Well, maybe Tuesday we'll hone in on some picks, because I already got some names, guy. I already got some names for Kiowa Island, guys I like, a Texan, a Spaniard. I am pretty fired up for this. I don't think
Sergio?
People... no, a chubbier Spaniard. I don't know if he can jump that high as Sergio once did. I did a little recon out of boredom. It was on Golf Channel. They replayed it. This course is going to look so cool on television. It's going to be because it's going to be so hard, but it's so unique looking in the water. It's just unlike something we're used to. I think it's going to really, really work well. And I do think some major names are going to be a factor, and I have some guys I want to gamble on. Also, Guy, if the Warriors, I guess they probably won't be 10-point underdogs, but if they play the Lakers Wednesday, I bet they're 7-point underdogs, right? I don't hate them as like a money line. Can I get them 2-1 on Wednesday night? Something to keep an eye on. MyBookie.ag, promo code HAM1.
Yeah, as of the recording of this podcast, the Blazers and Nuggets haven't played, and that affects whether or not the Warriors play the Lakers, but it does feel like it's – I think it would be a humongous letdown. We'll get to that for everybody if that doesn't happen. But you're right. NBA playoffs. I mean, we've got a ton of games coming up. The play-in thing's actually working for me.
Yeah.
It took me a few weeks ago. I had to do a little research just to make sure I understood it. But I understand it because it's not that complicated. And I like it. It's pretty simple. The play-in game, add a little juice to what the Warriors had. Added a little juice to a couple other games now you got to watch. It's just, I think it's having the intended effect.
I think it helped that Steph Curry was in it. You would not have watched. Neither would I if it was Memphis versus New Orleans.
Yeah, which a lot of years it is. It's that,
yeah.
Right? But sometimes you got to try something new. You need to have a few things go your way. It so happened that for the NBA, that was a national TV game with Steph Curry playing really well in it, right? So.
It'll be hard for the play-in game to ever be historically topped if it's LeBron versus Steph, right? If that's this first year's ever playoff game, I know technically it happened in the bubble, but I'm not really counting the bubble this year. Like that'd be pretty nuts.
MyBookie.ag, promo code HAM1. Speaking of golf, DraftKings.com, DraftKings app. I like to use them both. Sometimes I like the .com for making my lineup because I like to spread the whole thing out like I'm a stock trader, and I get like all my videos and all my other suggestions, and I get my game logs, and I get it all organized, John. And maybe I'll put together a winner. The PGA Championship was good to your boy last year. It was very good to me last year. I'm defending my third place finish. Let's not forget, I'm defending my big money finish last year at the PGA Championship.
How much money did you make? $700?
No, I think I had a second $200 win, so I think I got to go back. I think this one was like $500 or something. I had two big hits, and I've been a little cold since, John. But DraftKings promo code HAM. DraftKings promo code HAM. Right now, sign up the DraftKings app. Use the code HAM. You get a free shot of up to $10,000 in total prizes every day during the basketball playoffs.
Yep, free play pools are easy to enter. Just download the app. You and I have had the app. I live by the app. I mean, they're partners. I've invested in the company. I use the app. I love DraftKings. I can't recommend them enough, and they're great when big events are going on, like the PGA Championship and obviously the NBA playoffs. Listen, it's safe, secure, reliable. Deposit your money. You never have to worry about it, guys. You can take money. I don't ever win these contests. Guy has easy to deposit into your account. Takes a couple days.
Let
boom,
me check the DraftKings.
Bam. Download the top-rated DraftKings app now and use the promo code HAM when you sign up to get a free shot at $10,000 in total prizes every day of the basketball playoffs. How do you beat that? Head to DraftKings pool page to get your shot and huge cash prizes. That's promo code HAM for a limited time. DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Yeah. Keep an eye. If you're traveling this weekend, if you're going to the state of Washington, make your lineup before you go to the state of Washington. If you're in the state of Washington, I don't know, maybe drive down to Oregon, or I'm not sure, get into another state. Some states don't let you do the thing. But I'm trying to go back and see. Currently, I'm not getting any interest for the $700 I have in my DraftKings account, John. But I did get a 1099, so there's that. Golf.
You got tax on money you didn't even put in your direct.
I know.
Your bank account.
Makes you pull it out. I got to do something with it.
Shows you they're running a legit company. Sending 1099s.
Yeah, I know. Golf. You and I said it again. They got a ton of hoops, but last year was golf. We discovered how good golf was with DraftKings last year, and it's the best. So we'll do a $20 person. I think we're going to do 100 people. Did you say that already for the DraftKings game? But look forward on. We've been doing 200 people for majors, but we just want the game to happen. We're not sure where people are right now in their minds, even though there is no off season in our minds. So, yeah, that's what we got coming up. Cool.
Do it. Yeah.
All right, all the YouTubers. For those who are new to this, sometimes we stream. And it's just a stream. Sometimes it's also a podcast. This one's a podcast. So keep the comments coming, and we circle back to you guys near the end. But one thing that was fantastic on Friday, I remember texting our buddy I remember it, John, because it was 3 days ago, so not that long ago. But I texted our buddy Chris Biederman on Friday morning. I'm like, what time is your first Trey Lance video getting posted today? He said 1:05 Pacific. I said, great. I'm keeping an eye out for it. And he posted, just like many other of the people that cover the Niners posted, about a minute video of Trey Lance out there in a Niner helmet, the black jersey, red number 5. It was a big deal, and the numbers were good. I think Eric Branch said Canton. What was he, 21 to 24 throwing, or 20 to 23?
20 to 24. 20 to
24. It's very good. I remember, didn't David Carr start his career? Didn't David Carr have a game where he completed what was the NFL record? Like 24 straight passes to start a game? Or
I don't remember that, but he definitely opened with the Cowboys and the Texans beat him.
It wasn't in that game, I don't think. But in any event, we got a taste finally this weekend of Trey Lance as a 49er. So what do we think about what we got?
Yeah. Overall take, anyone just rookie minicamp in general. Football, and you and I have talked a lot about this just over the years, is I can play a real, basketball game 5-on-5 in the off season with my team. Baseball, I can have a even if I don't have guys in the outfield, I can roll in Johnny Cueto or Garrett Cole or Max Scherzer and take like a real live AB. I can just simulate ABs.
Yeah.
In football, you cannot do that even if you have the full team there in shorts and a t-shirt. If you have the full team there, you cannot judge offensive linemen without pads. You can't judge safeties and corners and linebackers. They're not even tackling. It's all two-hand touch. When I read that 22 people attended this practice, there were 4 total offensive linemen, and they were in the corner.
Yeah, not 22 media members attended the practice. 22 participants.
There was not a defensive lineman at the practice. So I'm not trying to poo-poo this. If I would have been there, you would have judged him his physical stature and his arm strength. But you cannot take away a fucking thing from a practice that does not have offensive or defensive linemen, right? I mean, this is basically what college coaches deal with in these 7-on-7 camps. Now, they make offers off it. You can judge just what the guy looks like. Like the Niners posted a video of Trey Sermon and Trey Lance walking out to practice. You're like, my number one takeaway is I knew Trey Lance was big. Sermon's big. Like, those are 2 big dudes. I mean, that's a big backfield, But what am I supposed to take away? He's accurate? Like, yeah, I mean, he should be. I'm not overreacting to a rookie minicamp that is also just reading a lot and talking to different people in the league. There are restrictions right now on the amount of people you can have on a tryout basis. So on a normal pre-corona, I would have had an extra 20 guys, maybe not that many, but 10 extra tryout guys just to fill some spots, give Sermon a breather, just have another quarterback there maybe if I want to talk to Trey so I can keep reps going, right? Mm-hmm. You just give you options with things. Some just random defensive linemen, maybe do a favor for an agent with some kid he has like from UCLA to ultimately get players in the future, but this guy's not an NFL player, so 20 no offense or defensive lineman. Does that not change a little bit what you think? Because one of the things
but how about the guys with the brooms, simulating fingertips?
Well, the one thing I read, he dumps it down a lot.
John, you work inside to out. You work short to long. Okay, that's how we're going to work this young career. For me, this stuff is always it's always just fun. If he had thrown, the only way anything he did is a story is if he was like 5 of 24, right, and couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Diamador Lenore made a sweet catch on a pick, but that wasn't.
Was that
I don't know
PI?
That wasn't really, huh?
Is that PI?
It might have been PI. The receiver definitely was not getting off clean, but whatever. The way I like to run my
to grab with one arm?
The way I like to run my OTAs, John, is you are bulls in the ring, and no one is here to rescue you. So nice catch. But to me, all this, I remember you saying this, and I've seen it too. Like the first day, I don't think is about necessarily anything going great. It's just you're just happy if nothing goes wrong. If a guy doesn't suddenly look smaller next to other pros, which we saw so much at Trey Lance pro day, I don't think we were worried. We saw him in shorts, so we weren't worried about it. He runs out, all of a sudden his legs look skinny. I think that's it. The only thing that I would think about, other than the thing that I've enjoyed since I was a kid, which is just seeing new players in new uniforms, it's one of the simplest joys in sports to me. It's why I hate when you Photoshop guys in a uniform before they've actually put draft days in a uniform. I mean, it's cool. But to me, it takes away some of the joy of actually seeing it for the first time, which I just think it's a basic thing that's cool. And I think it's a basic thing that's cool. The only thing that could have come out was it solid? Was it fine? Was it relaxed? It should feel like it would feel if he was Jimmy Garoppolo, which is that nothing of particular interest happens because the bar is very low. So that's it. Now that I don't want to poo-poo anybody's excitement about it because I was excited to see him. He looks big, right? He doesn't. These FCS guys that come from this program are not malnourished. They're not underdeveloped physically. Like they step in looking like NFL bodies. We saw it with Carson. So to me, it was just good to see him out there on the field after.
I'm not trying to poo-poo excitement.
I know. I'm just saying after months and months of us talking, it was nice to just see it. We reached kind of a step. It was just symbolic, I think.
I guess my overall take, and this will be the same if these mini camps happen. It feels like the veteran one's going to happen, but typically there are 3 or 4 mini camps, so maybe the extra ones are up in the air. I am not going to live and die, and neither should you, with the completion percentage in practice. I mean, part of it is just every day physically does he look like he belongs once the big guy comes? Like balls are going to get dropped, balls are going to be off. Whether it's 20 of 24 or 10 of 24 some days, the more and more guys come, it's just part of the ebb and flow of practice. That to me is just we got to the point. I text someone on the Niners staff, 20 of 24, and he's like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Oh." So it's just, but that's the type of stuff, and it's the world we live in. And again, I'm not once the bullets start flying, I wouldn't act like this if it in a preseason game. I'd take his number seriously and how it looked. Sure. But in fucking practice, now there are going to be the Jimmy Garoppolo, was it 5 straight passes, 5 straight pick sixes? Am I remembering that correctly? Something like that? Do you remember a moment?
God, that sounds
Wasn't there?
Right. Yeah, that's
maybe it was 3 or 4. There is a level of you do something, it's okay, this is alarming, but throw a pick. Dudes throw picks in practice. Sometimes it's just you are running a play and you're going to that guy. We want to see it work against this look, and just you have to throw it to them. So it's just one of those things that it's going to be a huge thing, though, guy. I mean, the hype on this guy, it's not – if we're getting 20 or 24 numbers from fucking rookie mini camps with 22 people, what happens when the whole group shows up? I his numbers are not going away. The hype is not going to stop flowing down, the mountain, the avalanche of just Trey Lance, which is cool. I'm not opposed to that. Just I do think you got to be careful what you make what is something and what's not. I'm not saying anyone's making anything of this. Besides, like, he looked good. It's what he should have looked.
Yeah.
But he looked good at, in 22 people. I hope he's the best player. He's a third overall pick.
I'll give you a take, John. I do think it is the fact that there was nothing to really see highlights one of the things that's not a question with him that is usually a question with guys. If he had come from a program like Goff did where he never took a snap under center, I think one of the questions out of his first practice would have been, did he take any snaps directly from center? How did he handle the snap? But I've seen him do it in college, so it's not really a question. That is all those guys we have that question about, right?
Yes.
Every guy, like all these guys come in, they haven't taken snaps under center. We go, no one goes like, I wonder if he's going to be a good pro day one. But we do ask, how are they going to look taking snaps from under center? And no one was really asking that question with him because we've seen it. We've seen him do it in games. Not really a thing. So I guess maybe that's the piece of news, that with him, you actually don't have the question that we will have, especially the further and further we go down the road of college football, about a lot of quarterbacks.
Now, here is something that, to me, I would put substance behind more than the completion percentage on plays. Now, I guess that would matter is, what are the rep counts? Like, when him and Jimmy get to rookie minicamp or definitely training camp, are they splitting reps? Is one guy going 90-10? Are they going 70-30? Like, that to me is a fascinating number and something to, like, anticipate once we get to that moment. To me, the rep count is infinitely more important at a veteran minicamp than any completion percentage. Would you agree there?
At a veteran minicamp, yeah.
Yeah, like, once the entire team shows up, like, who's repping with who?
Right.
Because, like, is Trey Lance throwing to guys we've never heard of and Jimmy gets to throw to all the other guys? Or do they let him get a series every 2 series with the starters? I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Again, this guy went third overall.
Do you expect him to start second? Getting the second most reps? More reps than Nate Sudfeld?
Yeah.
Josh Rosen, that video you sent me today, Josh Rosen, I'd never seen that before.
Kind of sad.
Of Rosen telling, I don't know, Steve Keim or the owner, we're going to Super Bowls.
I think Trey Lance is repping with the twos.
Yeah.
Unless he just doesn't know the plays, and that clearly doesn't look to be a problem.
Well, once you get everybody there will just be more things to watch. How him interacting with other players, Kyle pulling him aside, a receiver saying something to him, an offensive lineman saying something to him. What was the clip? The Chargers Hard Knocks, remember, I think one of the things I was disappointed in that Hard Knocks was that there wasn't a ton of Herbert. Just hearing Herbert, watching Herbert. But there was an early moment, one of the offensive linemen.
It was like, I thought it was like Chris Harris on the sideline, like, whoa, he ripped it. Gus Bradley was like, damn.
Yeah, there was definitely that. I remember there was a moment an offensive lineman said something to him, which was different than what you just said, but you're right. The Chris Harris moment was also significant. Now, we're not going to be getting that necessarily, but you might be getting quotes from other players, right? Veteran players. It's one thing if Trey Sermon says he looks sweet, but it's another thing when George Kittle says it.
Do you know Trey Sermon's last 3 quarterbacks? Kyler, Fields, Trey Lance. 3 straight years.
Kyler, Fields, Trey Lance. That's because he was a 3-year player that didn't have to sit for the transfer, right?
Yeah.
Or did he have somebody?
Yeah, so it was probably
before Kyler.
Or
was he a 3-year? He must have just been a 3-year player who didn't have to sit on the transfer.
Yeah. So he played with Baker too. So it would be Baker.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is he a 3-year? Yeah. So yeah.
Baker, Kyler Murray, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. Like, does this guy even know what average college?
What a 2-star recruit looks like?
Yeah, he has no clue.
How many stars was Baker? But yeah, no, that's incredible.
But by the time he was around, Baker was sweet.
Baker was the transfer to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That's incredible. All right, John, before we go any further, let's tell the people about Sleep Number. SleepNumber.com/ham. Sleep Number increases your energy, improves your focus. SleepNumber.com/ham. Discover proven quality sleep right now. Save $1,000 on the new Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed during the Memorial Day sale, only at Sleep Number stores or SleepNumber.com/ham.
Guy, how do you beat it? You know what, Guy? Sleep helps us recover faster from exercise, from injuries, from illnesses. You're not feeling that good? How often do you just like, I'm not feeling right, and you realize like I didn't get a great night's sleep last night? Well, it doesn't happen to me and you. Why? We got Sleep Number beds. And when you get a Sleep Number bed, you sleep like a baby. I can attest, you can attest. It helps. Just sleeping changes your life. I don't even think I need to preach the choir on that one. Here's ways I try to do this, guy. Stay hydrated when you sleep. I try to pound a glass of water before I go to bed. It's good. Just helps you sleep a little bit. Limit
Helps
the
me get up
alcohol.
at 2 a.m., but I have an
Me
active
too.
bladder.
I like it cold in my room. I just can't recommend the Sleep Number. We've had them now for a long time. They've been great partners because their beds are sweet. And if you're thinking about getting a new bed, I can't recommend it enough. Just go to sleepnumber.com/ham and get yourself a major discount. Memorial Day sale. Memorial Day sale, guy.
I will tell you, by the way, the other one you brought it's been in the script that Sleep Number gives us for a while. You brought it to my attention, and I've tried to be really cognizant of not drinking the caffeine. They say the studies say after noon o'clock. That's tough. Sometimes I might get one around 1 or 2, but definitely sometimes I would have one at like 4:30, a little iced coffee, and that's trouble. So just another little tip there. Proven quality sleep. Save $1,000 on the new Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed during the Memorial Day sale. Sleepnumber.com/ham. That's sleepnumber.com/ham. By the way, before you go any further, let's just make sure we get the quarterbacks right for Trey Sermon. So he was 3 years at Oklahoma, then a year at Ohio State.
Yeah.
So that was Baker in 17, Kyler in 18, Hurts in 19.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about him.
Then he got Justin Fields. Then he got Trey Lance.
Holy shit. So, Hurts is a starter now. So he went Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts. Those are 3 NFL starters 3 straight years. Justin Fields, he's going to be an NFL starter. And whenever Lance eventually starts, he's going to play with him.
So thank you, Getty, on YouTube for pointing that out. Do you want to do a quick, let's just out of curiosity, who was Trey Sermon's high school quarterback? Did you think just thinking out loud real quick?
Where do you think he's from?
He's
Texas?
from Marietta, Georgia.
Okay.
I'd
say it's a decent shot. He played with a college player.
Right? So he would have been the class of
16.
It's a little hard to find. Sprayberry High School. I'm not going to do a deep search. I'm going to type in Sprayberry High School QB, see if somebody pops up. If not, we'll move on.
If you would have been like Zach Wilson, I'd be like, holy shit.
Let's just see, notable alumni. Jerick McKinnon, notable alumni from that high school. Travis Tritt, notable alumni. Jimmy Rave. Sorry, not the former Niners offensive coordinator, a pro wrestler. Chad Pennington? No, Ty Pennington from TV.
It's a great day
Marlon
to be alive,
Byrd.
guy.
And the kicker,
Baseball
the Colts
player?
kicker, Rodrigo Blankenship. Was that his college kicker? If he went Rodrigo Blankenship and then the 3 Oklahoma guys and then Fields and then
Is
Lance, I'll be
Blankenship the
impressed.
guy with the glasses?
Yeah.
The dude, the tweet that went viral, these two play the same sport, and it was him, and it was DK Metcalf without a shirt on.
Is that one better than same body, same position, Cam and Mac Jones? I've seen that one.
I don't
side
know
by
if I've
side.
seen that one yet. The Blankenship one with the glasses next to DK is pretty awesome.
That one's
now,
better
granted,
than the...
you could throw Miles. You could do it with numerous NFL players. Basically, probably majority of the league. But Blankenship, and it's like I'm making fun of Blankenship. He's gonna be like, "Yeah, watch me have a 10-year career, you idiots." I'm not even trying to talk shit.
No, I know you're not.
You look,
I know you're not. It's
you look
funny.
a little funny.
It's just a funny, funny meme. I understand. All right. Well, somebody mentioned Justin Fields to us earlier on the YouTube channel, John, and it was perfect timing because we were going to talk about this anyway, which is the build-up, and we saw some of it with Trey Lance, and we'll see it with Fields. I think their situations are a little different from one another, but they're also probably more similar than they are different.
It's definitely not apples to apples because Jimmy Garoppolo and Andy Dalton aren't apples to apples. Every team in the league would rather have Jimmy Garoppolo start than Andy Dalton. Where they are very similar, neither fan base wants to watch either play at this point in time. The Bears 100%. Like, no one needs to watch a throw of Andy Dalton. People can live with Jimmy if he's fine, but this gets back to what we just talked about on the hype on this guy. And you could feel it with both guys. Now, granted, they both had practices this week. So it's like you just saw them in their uniform, which once you see it, and they both look pretty freaking sweet, you're like, God, I want to see more of that.
Yeah.
The other thing is part of why they look so sweet is they're big, sweet, physical athletes with huge arms. Like, I don't know, who do you want your quarterback to be? You know, a guy that can run, that can throw BBs, and knows what he's doing, right? I mean, you want these type players. But the great part about rookies, you don't know what they look like. I think the hype on both these guys, given that they're not going to go starters into training camp, unlike Trevor Lawrence starter, Zach Wilson starter, Mac Jones. The hype on Mac Jones was really Niner created. I don't feel there's that much hype on Mac Jones. Even if you're a Patriot fan, like you're interested to watch him, but you're not like, I got to see Mac Jones. Like it's fucking.
I would love
he's a
to know.
6'2" guy with an average arm.
Yeah, I'd love to know. Do Patriots fans prefer Mac Jones start than Cam Newton?
Just whoever just gets us a win is probably what they're thinking.
Yeah, I don't get the sense that there's a lot of like people taking sides on that one.
No, because it's ultimately like, okay, you're getting Kirk Cousins. So to me, back to these two guys, like I think the hype on them as rookie, of the quarterbacks are going to be the strongest. Basically, I mean, they're talking the Niners and the Bears, and you're talking two guys that aren't the starter. So it's just constant back to what we were just like, what are practices looking like?
Let me ask you
the rep count looking like?
Why do you say Justin Fields is not the starter?
Well, because Andy Dalton is the starter going into camp. I think it's easier for Justin Fields 100% to just win that job.
They can't, because you're saying you just can't give Justin Fields that job before he's done anything.
Yeah, I just think Andy Dalton's going to be running with the ones when training camp starts. Do you not?
No, I do. I was just curious why you felt that way. Because I think, the organizations are in different positions. The head coach, the GMs, they're just in different spots, right? Like the Bears need Justin Fields to be good now. The Niners need Trey Lance to be good eventually. It's a little different. And I think they're a lot more desperate for him. Like they to me, a tie might go to Trey Lance, but Trey Lance, if Jimmy's better than him, Jimmy's the starting quarterback. If Andy Dalton's a little better than Justin Fields might still be the starting quarterback.
Not disagreeing with you. They are not apples to apples situation, but where they are similar is the hype on both players from the fan base, from the consumer, from the
media,
guy that
the media coverage is going to be driven by that hype, as it should be. It's
both places that are
that's
massive markets, massive brands in the league, and to me, like, what is the Zach Wilson story? It's like, oh, how he looks. His team sucks.
But there's no drama as to whether or not he's the guy.
I think these are the two. These two guys are going to lead the training camp hype train for rookies because they're not starting. Their physical attributes are huge. And while Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, when they make their quote-unquote preseason debuts, like I said, it will be a big deal, but like they're starting no matter what. The dissection on these two guys' preseason games are going to be outrageous, guy. I'm here for that. Like I'm all for, because you're comparing them now. Like you said, Trey is different. He would have to be dramatically better than Jimmy. Like a tie, if the tie goes to the runner, tie goes to Jimmy. Tie in Chicago probably just goes to Justin Fields.
Right? But I don't. But I'm saying it's like even if he's just close, I think it goes to Justin Fields.
But you agree the hype train on Trey Lance? Like, what if in training camp, like some of those preseason games, he looks incredible. And Jimmy looks terrible. You think people are like, oh, yeah, just start Jimmy. Woohoo.
No.
Who the fuck's going to be saying that?
Nope. Well, first of all, he doesn't even have to look incredible. There's going to be people saying you got to start him, right? But how does Shanahan and Kyle kind of we'll know what Kyle thinks based on what the practices are like, because he said it. Once it's time to once we know he's ready to compete, he'll compete for the job. So we'll know how he's splitting up the reps, whether or not it's at a certain point, whether or not it's a competition or not, right?
That's one of my main points with this. The story of these two players' reps, every single training camp practice, it's going to be outrageous how many takes come from that of like everyone's going to have an opinion. Like, oh, it's just we got to get Trey Moore. Justin Fields, no, not enough. Like it's going to be real because then it's going to be based on how did they look in those practices. What is Kyle doing? Jimmy looks awful. Trey's throwing dimes, and they're going 90-10. Jimmy, this doesn't make any sense. Can you imagine if I go to Bears practice, Fields look awesome, but he only got 20% of the reps. People are like, what is going on? Which is cool. Like, to me, that, like you said, back to the drama aspect of it, it's going to be strong. To me, you could feel it this weekend on just both guys coming out of their first ever practice. I don't know how many people the Bears had, but like the Niners, probably not many. And it just, you just already there. Because once you see both guys in a uniform, you're like, yeah, that's what an NFL quarterback looks like. Now we do know this. What you look like getting off the bus at an NFL quarterback doesn't mean a damn thing. Hackenberg looks sweet. Kaiser looks sweet. I mean, I could list 50 guys that look sweet getting off the bus. But we know there's more to that. But where it's fair with both these guys, I think coming in, did you tell me that Ballard had the blue star on Trey Lance? Like the Colts loved him?
Shit, that was a topic we're going to do today.
We can save that for midweek, but like I think this guy was beloved in the scouting community. Clearly, Justin Fields was more, I don't want to say red flag because that's too strong, but just the opinions varied. But no one disputed his physical attributes, right? And I always argued his production, but man, I can't wait to watch just how the training camp operates with both these guys relative to the incumbent. Jimmy's a true incumbent. Andy's like a hired mercenary who stinks, but they're both going to get the same treatment. Starting when training camp starts, they're both going to be under center with the ones, which is just like go back years ago, different scenario because one guy was a 3rd round pick and it was Matt Flynn, but I will give Pete credit. He just went quarterback positions open. Now they hadn't accomplished anything.
What was Matt Flynn making?
Ever been to the playoffs? I think $7 or $8 million.
He was less accomplished
they signed him,
than the other two guys.
But it was just, it's wide open. You think it's easier to say it's wide open when you've never won anything than when like
I do.
It's not wide open with Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah. I mean, there are guys in that locker room that have won with whatever. Who knows what anybody individually thinks, but they've won with them. Like you've seen what it is at its best.
And there's a balance of like
you've got expectations on your own team.
Yeah, you don't. That's just Belichick never does. You know, it's wide open when someone's earned it. Part of it, like part of the program, is earning your spot. Now you could say that Jimmy was just handed it.
But isn't that what the comment Kyle made to Irvin, right? Was like, I don't want to give Florio a headline. Of course he could start. Anybody can start. This is, that's what coaches say. It's like, this is competition. That's the way this works. Like that is the ultimate question that we'll be talking about over the next several months is not what does Kyle think or what does Kyle do? The ultimate question is how good is Trey Lance? Because if Trey Lance is good enough, it's not Kyle thinking. Kyle's not thinking him into the starting quarterback job. That is the only thing that matters. Is Trey Lance good enough? Because if Trey Lance is good enough, then he'll quote unquote force Kyle to do whatever it is he forces Kyle to do. It's not up to Kyle. That's why when coaches say it, we think it's a cliche, but it's so true. When they say it's not up to me, it's up to him. It's up to Trey Lance, and that is the ultimate truth.
I'd push back a little bit because in camp it is a little subjective. It's based on training camp. It's based on.
But I'm just saying
kind of the feel of your team.
But this is to your point on Pete. I think Kyle is open-minded to letting Trey Lance become the starting quarterback if that's what he forces him to do.
I agree.
Why wouldn't he be? So,
but I think that's what the fans want.
It is. I say we call an audible and just add this other topic here because I've got the little note on Chris Ballard. If you want to talk about that right now,
yeah, let's do it.
You do that now. You want to save it for later in the week?
Let's do it right now.
Let's do it right now because this is a good note. Somebody sent this to us on Friday, and I forgot to make a note. I'm glad you remembered that. So here's what happened, and I'll just read you through. So Adam Peters in The Athletic, and you had told me was it the Eagles do like a blue star or something like that they call it?
The Ravens have always done, every scout gets maybe it was called a purple star for them. I think the Eagles call it a green star. Maybe it's a red star there too. I don't know. But you just star a guy who it doesn't matter the round.
A guy you like.
Type guy, a guy that you would just be like, yeah, to me it'd be a love. And it would be guys like DeForest Buckner, Debo. I mean, it could be any round, like Fred Warner. You don't have to be a top 10 pick. So it could be Fred Warner coming out in the draft. Like, no matter where this guy is, I want this guy on our team when the draft ends. So if that means we got to take him in the second, the fourth, it's not necessarily, you're not trying to like guess his round. You just go his on the field ability, his football character, everything this guy brings to the table. I want this guy.
So apparently the Niners, Adam Peters said the Niners have something like that called a gold helmet designation. And
I think Ozzie originally started it, and all these people now have kind of stolen. It's smart.
the Niners had Trey Lance, gold helmet, and Hufanga had a gold helmet. Talanoa Hufanga. Wouldn't be shocked if it was John Lynch's gold helmet on that guy, right? Because what did John Lynch call him? An old school badass. The Colts.
Yeah, and the way the team, I know the way the Ravens did it, like the team doesn't, it's just individuals do it, right? So like an individual scout pounds the table. This guy's my gold helmet. This guy's my star guy. And it's like Middlecoff told me coming into this draft, his gold helmet guy was Landon Dickerson. He said, no matter what, I fucking will go to war every week with Landon Dickerson.
That's not you saying take him in the first round or take him in the second round. It's just I love this guy.
Yeah.
So the Colts do something they call a blue card. Football Morning, and Peter King wrote that Ballard said, when we're in draft meetings, we talk about a player's character at length, determine if he fits on our board. If a player meets our strict criteria in terms of his football character, he gets a blue card. We might have 10 or 12 blue cards in the entire draft. And we want
it was hard to get.
Yeah. And we want to pick as many of these players as we can. A Colts fan noticed that in a Colts video, a blurry version of the draft room showed that they had two players taken in the first round were blue card players. So two of the players taken in the first round were blue card players. Trey Lance and Devontae Smith were the two blue card players that the Colts had on their board. So do you
Devontae Smith, every team, whatever their thing would get that. We had talked a lot about him, over the couple months, right? That every receiver, I had a team tell me that last year when Ruggs and Judy were coming out, they said, who's the best guy in the room? Both guys without hesitation. You asked the question thinking like, I was the best guy. It's kind of what you want to hear. Both guys without hesitation said Devontae. And he's the alpha on the team.
So that means they respect him in addition to him being really good.
Yeah, I think Landon Dickerson and Devontae Smith are two Alabama guys that universally, like every team, whatever their designation is, got the blue card, got the gold helmet. Like that's just, it's hard. Like part of it should be really hard to get. Like you don't just liberally give them away. Two feels a little low, but
It's like, what about the guy you guys drafted? You hated him? Yeah. So to me. This is
you
not.
Said, you said so. The two guys, did the Ballard admit it or Peter?
No. Somebody noticed in the background of a draft video. They try to blur stuff, but you can see sometimes.
You could just tell the order, maybe too, right?
Yeah, I think that actually might have been it. I think that's what they're saying. The blurry version of the draft board indicated two players in the first round were blue card players: Trey Lance and Devontae Smith. The fact that you and I talked about this the other day, because we talk about a lot of other things. And the Colts being one of them, we tend to talk about the Colts a lot because of Ballard. The Ballard loved one of your guys is not the same as just any random GM loving one of your guys. I'd be like the Ravens loving one of your guys. I think same cat. I would put that in the same. At least when it was Ozzie, right? If Ozzie loved one of your guys, that would be the same to me. And we know they kind of they both love DeForest Buckner. Now everyone you could argue would love DeForest Buckner, but. I would bet there's some crossover in the players that Chris Ballard likes and the players that Kyle Shanahan and Adam Peters and John Lynch and those guys like.
Yeah, and I think ideally when you build a team, and we'll talk about like Curry, Draymond, and Clay, would clearly the NBA versions of them would be blue cards, right? You want your best players, like looking back at the Patriots. Well, it'd be Brady would have been one, McCourty would have been one. Edelman would have been one, like football, personal character. I mean, everything you'd want. Like if your star players are that version, what else can go wrong? So it's like if your quarterback is one, ideally, it doesn't get any better than that, right? So to them, their standards are really, really high. And I'd say the Colts standards, like you said, are higher than the Niners the last several years. So
consistently, with consistency at least.
Well,
they wouldn't have drafted
Ballard
Reuben Foster.
Well, and they wouldn't have chose Eric Armstead over DeForest Buckner. And I'm not saying that was the wrong move, but Ballard would not have. He just wouldn't have. And we'll see how that ages. But yeah, we kind of knew that, right? We didn't know he was a blue star guy, but I'm just saying part of the reason of Trey Lance, one of his defining characteristics is pretty consistently inside NFL buildings. This is why I think maybe you have said this before. We've kind of come to the agreement that, I bet Trey Lance was higher on the majority of boards than Justin Fields. And it's not necessarily a knock on Justin Fields. It's more like they viewed Trey Lance as just exactly how, like, there is not a negative.
Yeah.
Like, really, his only negative is the school he played at.
Yeah,
right?
the lack of reps. The lack of reps.
But the only negative that anyone could have controlled is just, we wish he played at another school. Obviously,
but if he had
just played as many games as he could have.
But this is where, would you change it? Because he didn't play at Oklahoma or Ohio State, I know something about Trey Lance that I wouldn't have known if he had. And the thing I know about Trey Lance is that he was more determined to be a quarterback, even if that meant going to North Dakota State, than playing at a big-time school, which would give him maybe a more immediate spotlight, like Minnesota, who wanted him to be a defensive back, right? So I know what Trey Lance thinks about being a quarterback, how much it means to him because of the fact that he's at North Dakota State. Now, maybe it would mean just as much to him if he had been somewhere else. I just might not know that about him. So I do know something about him that I wouldn't have otherwise known because of where he ended up. And that, I know how he deals with adversity a little bit, right? I know how he deals with being told you're not good enough. There are these things that we know about Trey Lance that we wouldn't know if he was somewhere else. So I don't think it's even, and I know you're not saying it's a negative. I wouldn't want to, we'll see what happens over the next 5-10 years. I wouldn't want to rewrite Trey Lance's story to this point because it's part of who he is. It's part of what helps us understand a little bit. I feel like we understand a little bit what he's about. Like, to your point, that blue card is not about Trey Lance's arm, right? That's about the stuff I just said. That's about, we've talked about this. I think the Niners believe this. I would imagine the Colts probably did. I think people think he's really, really, really smart, really sharp. Like, that to me is what some of the blue card and the blue gold helmets are about. It's about the fact that he was at North Dakota State.
Well, if you ask Chris Ballard this, and if you ask anyone who does this in their draft room and said, if you could only have one of these guys on your team, what position would you want that guy to be on? All of them would say without hesitation they'd want their quarterback to be that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you could only have one red star, blue gold helmet, blue label, whatever your designation is, you would take it at the quarterback position, right?
Yeah.
As a draft pick. Now, not some of these guys acquire quarterbacks different ways. That's a powerful thing. Like, I was texting with Keith Williams, who's now with the Ravens, as him and T. Martin are the wide receiver coaches. I was just asking about Bateman. He was like,
Devontae Adams, wide receiver coach. Keith.
Yeah, he works with Tyreek Hill. He used to have Fresno State and Nebraska for a while. And he was just telling me how much they love Lamar in that building, like how confident they just are about Lamar Jackson. I think one thing that's been clear with Lamar Jackson, we can nitpick like his outside the numbers throwing. They just drafted a guy in the first round, and they think they can get Hollywood going and everything. The character stuff with Lamar is like everything you'd sign up with, I mean, it's just he to me, he's blown me away because part of a quarterback is like, how do you act after losses? You act like a dick? You act like an asshole? Are you going to turn half your fan base off? Or are you just going to be consistent like
or your
every day?
Room.
Or your players? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, the Colts, like their riskiest move that Ballard's made by far is acquiring Carson Wentz, right? Somewhat out of desperation, but look, Lamar might be flawed, but at least you feel really good about everything you're doing with him 24/7, right? And you just know we just got to put him in the best position in the playoffs. And
it's easy to say what I think you and I agree. Like, if I were the Colts, I would have done this Carson Wentz thing 10 out of 10 times. So I'm all in. I think it's going to work. But he did just get traded. They just traded him. Yeah. The Eagles just traded him. It's crazy.
Because you say
this offseason may not, from me, I may not sometimes give this offseason enough credit for how insane it is.
No, we don't. It'd be very, very rare in the NFL if once you have a player and he's viewed as a blue star guy in your building and he's the quarterback, that guy never gets traded, right?
What should we should hand out? What should we call guys?
I don't know.
We give him a hand bone
and win.
We give him a hand bone, like a little helmet, a bone helmet sticker. Like Georgia has the.
What if we just? I don't know.
Blue collar. They got a blue collar.
Was that a Harbaugh thing? Remember the Dickies?
Harbaugh had the thing where you had your name tag on your mechanic shirt.
You wore you wore a mechanic shirt. That's an old school, like that will probably never happen again.
Remember guys would just wear it after a game? Like it wasn't even like the whole team, someone would just be wearing their shirt.
Guy Jim would wear it.
I
remember
Alex.
Jim. Yeah. Yeah, Harbaugh's was just Jim. right? NFL coach. What's crazy is it worked. Like he got to the NFL and all his shit was working.
Can I? You know what? It's funny we just got into that conversation because I literally thought of something watching TV like 2 hours ago. There was some commercial. I don't even know what it was for. And it's like this young woman getting coffee for everybody. She's working on like a movie set. And she's like, right now, maybe it was like cheap insurance or something. Because she's like, right now I'm pitching pennies. One day I'll be the star director. But for now, like, I got to start at the bottom. And she's handing out coffees. I just thought of this piece of advice that I would give people starting at the bottom rung, no matter what industry. You know what I would do if I was in that position, I think? I would wear a name tag every day. It just says, hello, my name is Guy. Because the number one thing when you don't get that much time to interact with people is they just like, thanks for my coffee. They don't really know who you are. They don't know your name. They just call you, hey, you. I would say swallow your pride. Forget about the fact that no one knows your name. Put your name tag on your shirt every day, and you're just going to stand out from everybody else because people are going to love to see you coming. I think 50% of the reason anybody avoids anybody is they don't remember their name. If you just walked around as like a 19, 20, 21-year-old intern, just with people like, this guy's wearing a hello, my name is Guy name tag every day, no matter what, a suit jacket, a shirt, a polo, weekend party at the boss's house, everyone's going to know your name. Everyone is going to know your name. It hit me today. I was like, I wish I'd thought of that 15 years ago. But
that is genius. You know, a huge point of contention, my young career at Fresno State, and then definitely when I got to Philly. At Fresno State, they would never give me a name tag. Everyone had offices. Everyone got name tags,
like
including
on
the
wall?
GAs. On my wall. Now, I didn't technically have a main office, but I just wanted John Middlecoff. They
you got
finally
one in
gave
Philly.
me one, and they didn't spell my name right. Then I got to Philly, and I had this office that every first guy, at the position, and they spelled my name wrong again. It was just, and that type of stuff.
It was like on a cubicle, right? On the cubicle, I
Yeah,
remember.
it was like on the cubicle.
You
one
gave
F.
me a tour and it had one F.
One F. But you're right. Like, who even cares? Just take pride and let people, wear a name tag. You're right. Most people aren't going to know your name. You need to make them remember your name.
Yeah,
but people get.
We blame other people for that, right? Why they don't know my name? It's like,
well, you know what happens at training camp when they go to 90 players? What happens on the top of helmets?
You put your name on it.
Well, you put a tape and it says Smith or
right.
Williamson or Jordan or whatever your fucking last name is. Got a huge piece of tape. You might have it on your back. Do you know who doesn't? Aaron Donald doesn't need to do that, right? Trent Williams doesn't need to do that. But the 4-string guard, like it actually is smart. And I bet there's a point, if you ask any player, mid-round guys to late guys that have a long career, they'd be like, at one point in time, I had tape on my head, right?
You know what, my move would be? I'd never take it off.
Exactly.
I'd wear it in year 18.
I'd keep that tape. But it's an ego thing.
It is.
When you're young, because you want to be known so bad. If you can learn, and I was bad at this, and I think most people are, if you're immature, you let your pride and your ego, like, why don't they know my name? Make them remember your name. What's the easiest way to make them remember your name? Wear your name tag.
Yeah. Who sang that song? Lincoln.
Fort Minor?
Lincoln Park. Fort Minor, yeah. Yeah,
Make them remember the name. I think that's J.J. Watt's theme song.
J.J. Watt's favorite song?
Yeah, because the part of my take guys, you shit, because he'd have videos of him working out and he'd have that playing in the background. It's like, JJ, it's like, you're the 3-time defensive player of the year. Stop being so cheesy.
I love it.
And he
man.
even admitted I was a little cheesy.
Whatever gets you fired up, that's okay.
Now tell me this: would 2009 Guy Haberman wear a name tag at a Fresno State football game?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I'd thought of it. I don't know. I might not. I mean, you wore a media pass. That's different. I'm just talking, but yeah, it'd be hard to do. Like you're interning at, Ham Financial, and you're a third-year college student from Stanford, and you think you're I'm from Stanford.
But I think but I would say this: hey, just people are going to make fun of you. The other interns will, and maybe the lower level guys will. You know who might respect it though? The boss.
Absolutely. I know the boss would respect it. Again, the boss they'll be happy to see you because they get to say your name. They don't know anybody's names.
That's a great piece of advice. You know what? You do not get that in school, Guy. You get that from being in the trenches. You get that from going through shit and understanding the way people think. And I never remember names.
I wish other people were wearing name tags. Exactly.
Me too.
All right, John, let's tell the people about Geology. Summer's coming, baby. Summer is coming. And right now, you go to geology.com. You go check out the SPF 30 sunscreen. Geology.com/ham. Excuse me. Geology.com/ham. Get 20% off the brand new SPF 30 unisex face sunscreen right now.
As a bald man, and my dermatologist told me this a long time ago, and it's so true, because I used to tan really easy. And I think the key as you get older, women, females, ladies, young girls, they're great at this. They're great at applying sunscreen. I don't think guys, I can only speak from experience, are very good at that. I feel like, are you a sunscreen guy if you just go out normally? I have become great at it. I never enter the outdoors without at minimum SPF 30. And I'm going to incorporate this because it's more than just sunscreen. Broad spectrum SPF 30 with a mineral-based sunscreen to provide maximum protection. UVA. Guy, we're not that far away from it. We're closer to 50 than we are to 15 now. Your skin gets a little thinner. The sun marks. You get the wrinkles. You got to fight that bad boy called the sun, guy.
And that's the point here, right? Is that this is skincare. It's not just sunscreen. That means every day. You just put it on. Make it part of a habit. Be like Middlecoff. It's not just for going to the beach. It's just for going out every day. I've been doing it a little bit because there's a little bit of it in my Geology face cream, which I use. I shave every day, then put that stuff on. But this is even higher SPF, and you get it all over your face, maybe arms if you're going short sleeves that day. Sun's out, guns out. Here's the other beauty of it. Maybe people are going to start getting out of the house. You got maybe whatever you got in your bathroom. You got bottles everywhere. You don't need 4 different bottles for, your girlfriend or your wife's got 3 bottles and you get 1. No, you just have 1. It's SPF 30 unisex face sunscreen. You just keep it in the bag. You use it every day. You get it, keep it by the sink, whatever you got to do. Bam, Geology, high quality products.
Yep, geology.com/ham, geology.com/ham, 20% off pre-order. Do it now.
Up to 40 minutes of protection, by the way, water resistant in the water. So it's well beyond that if you're not in the water.
Yeah.
If you're in the water,
dive in like Phelps.
Bam.
You got 40 minutes.
Geology.com/ham, 20% off. Pre-order right now the SPF 30 unisex face sunscreen from our friends at geology.com/ham. I know this. If you and I are the commissioners of the NBA right now, there is one thing and one thing only that we want, John. One thing above all other things. And that's as many Steph Curry games as possible. I think, and I said this early in the season, and we're coming off having watched their win over the Grizzlies on Sunday. I said this early in the year, I thought he was back to MVP form. And as it turned out, I think I was right. He didn't win it. He's not going to win it. But one thing I think is really clear, and it's not going to be clear to people who didn't watch Steph's career, there's going to be a gap for him from this year when he won the scoring title, right? He clinched it today.
Yeah.
32 points a game, basically. And the 2015-16 season when he won the scoring title. There's a gap all those years in between that he didn't win the scoring title. And the guy sacrificed to win with KD. Great. All for it. But it does not – he just is able to flip the switch of interesting in the NBA immediately, and he did it this year.
Yeah, I mean, the most powerful part about him is he's one of the last needle movers in a league that's had a precipitous drop-off in interest. Like, I mean, listen to Strauss write and talk about it on his podcast with the guys on the Plus Minus. The importance of the Warriors this year, like obviously the Lakers, they're the defending champs, and they're the Lakers, the number 1 draw. The Warriors are like a close second, and depending on the nights you look, they're bigger sometimes when you put them on national television. And you're watching him today, he's probably the most unique, like just because he's so small and yet he's such an efficient scorer. Like clearly the best 3 players of his era. LeBron is number 1. And these guys played together, and I think most people, even the diehard basketball people, would give the edge Kevin is better than Steph. But I'm watching him today, like, you can make that argument, but I can also make the argument that Steph's the second best player of his era. Kevin needed him. He did not need Kevin to win a championship, right? I mean, you could make the argument, and I'm not diminishing Kevin. I mean, you're talking LeBron's be a top 3 or 4 player ever, probably the second. Kevin, who knows where it all shakes, potentially a top 10. Like, what's Curry? Because here's what I know. Curry played in an era of great guards, right? Chris Paul was called the point god. Steph Curry's in a different universe than Chris Paul. Russell Westbrook. They don't even share anything in common beside stats.
Can I say one thing about? I agree with you. This is not a disagreement with anything you just said. I do think one thing is clear, even though he's annoying. Chris Paul wins like almost everywhere he goes, right?
But I'm not acting like he's not an elite all-time great.
No, I know.
This
is just a separate. I just wanted to make an aside. Like I think I don't know if Chris Paul even gets appreciated because he just goes to places where you're like, why would you want to go there? Like he doesn't even want to go there. He was forced to go, and they just win. Anyway, keep going on Steph though.
But Golden State was that, and what he did here with Draymond and even Clay before Kevin ever showed up was something that Chris could not do. Like, let's not even include anyone else. Just the two best point guards of the last decade and a half were Chris and Steph, and every single person in the NBA would agree with me that Steph's a better player. They would rather have Steph than Chris. And I think Chris, like you said, in like true basketball sense, and people in the mud of hoops think he's like underappreciated, but everyone agrees that Steph's better. Like Chris is going to go down as like an all-time great.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's not even an argument.
Yeah, but I think part of it today is just watching these guys in a big game. I was thinking about this historically because I think Draymond is one of the great big game players I've ever seen. The thing with the NBA, watching a little bit of the Hall of Fame, and it was pretty powerful moment. Vanessa talking, Michael behind him. Michael also introduced Kim Mulkey because they met like in 1984 at the Olympics, and they just became friends. And it was like, yeah, I could see them being friends. I was like, yeah, makes sense.
I've heard. I didn't realize it till I'd heard a few people say like, yeah, Kim Mulkey, like she rubbed some people the wrong way, like kind of the way Michael does.
Michael fucking loves her, and they're homies. And I guess someone couldn't show up for Kim, so she asked Mike. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. But it just what I was saying is the history of the NBA. Most guys don't win because the same group of the elite top end guys win all the championships. Right? That's what's like these guys, just watching those two guys with a bunch of randos. I mean, just random guys. The majority of people listen to this podcast, unless you're a Warriors fan, wouldn't even know who they are. And when they flip a switch, it's like, goddamn, this is the NBA that I grew up on. Like when a Shaq, when a Michael, when an Akeem, when a Kobe would flip a switch, like we ain't fucking losing this game under no chance. And that's something the NBA I think is lost. It's why so many people just. You watch these games, like, God, does anyone care? And you could feel it today. It's like, God, these two guys. And really, you look at the stats like the last, month, they had to flip a switch because they were trending the wrong way. It's like, God, are they going to miss like a play-in game?
Yeah.
And they flipped a switch, and those two, and it's really, it kind of felt like an NBA jam because Draymond, everyone's going to be blowing Steph, and they should. He scored 46 points. Guy, Draymond's fucking throwing passes like he's Chris Paul. It's amazing to watch those two guys, like, under no circumstances are we losing to these two random guys. Now, if it plays out, we're recording this before the Laker game, they play the Lakers and lose. Like, I'm not saying they're just going to win that game, but, like, I think there's going to be overwhelming if LeBron and Anthony Davis are healthy for the game. Everyone will pick the Lakers. I would just say not so fast. Now, I would put LeBron in that category as well. Like, I'm not in the business of betting against him by any means. But, like, if I had to do the rankings of guys, push comes to shove, my money's on the line. I know this, Anthony Davis is the fourth guy on the list of people I trust when it's fucking nut cutting time. I'll promise you that much. So it's like, if his ankle tweaks, like, I know Draymond's playing through it, I can see Anthony Davis like, oh, yeah, injured.
I do think yeah, I agree. I mean, we're talking about
I did have an NBA coach, an assistant within the last week, send me a clip of Anthony Davis, and he's like, bro, what were we supposed to do against this? It was him going like rebound, around the back, coast to coast, layup between three guys. He's like, this skill is just, I'm not disputing his like talent, but my point is, look, do you agree that everyone is not going to pick them if that's the game? And it's like, I wouldn't bet against Steph and Draymond.
Well, partly there's, you're talking, there's also you just said I wouldn't bet against them. You're not even talking about the odds. You're just saying you don't think it's going to be a walk in the park for the Lakers. I agree. I mean, but think about what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about, of the four guys you named, three of them are champions, like in capital letters all the way across, right? LeBron and Draymond and Steph have had epic moments in the history of the NBA, both individually and against one another. It's not even fair. I mean, Anthony Davis is not in that conversation. No, he's a great player, right? But what you're talking about is like, you're talking about some of the greatest players who've ever lived and have won being great. Draymond, I heard Steph and Draymond the other day had like this NBA jam moment. Draymond throws some passes. Him and Steph have these redirects where Draymond's throwing these rockets to places where people don't usually throw passes, right? Where Steph gives it to him, and you're used to seeing a guy maybe he'll come off a screen. Draymond throws passes from places and to places on the floor that are really, guys usually don't throw them from that spot to that spot at these crazy angles from traffic. It's really mind-blowing.
I saw Gottlieb get in an argument with people on Twitter earlier this week about like Westbrook's place in history. And he quoted, someone tweeted at him something about Steph being an all-time great point guard. And he pushed back. He's like, I don't think you can just consider him a point guard. Because you watch him today, like he does play a little like Reggie Miller style.
Yeah.
Like they just had like, he's not a true, Draymond turns into their point guard when they're playing like that. Right. It really,
yeah. I mean,
Draymond's
had 11 assists, 10 assists, 13 assists. What do you have today? What was the box?
I think he ended up with 9. He ended up like 12, 9, and 8. He didn't end up with a triple-double. But I felt like today they basically just go, fucking Draymond, you run it. Steph, you run around, and you guys are fucked because you're going to end up with Steph. You either leave him open, he hits a 3, or one of our guys just lays under the basket and gets an easy layup. And Draymond makes these passes like he's freaking John Elway. He's like, whoo, 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 whoo. It's – guy, I don't think Draymond gets – I think Steph ultimately does get the respect. I mean, everyone loves him. You watch Draymond when it matters, he turns into this player that just – we grew up on the Kings, Vlade, Weber. They were fantastic passing big men. But they were stationary, right? You would throw it into Vlade, and he would run the offense from, like, the post. And guys would cut. That was the offense, right? The Princeton offense. Everyone's cutting. Your bigs had to be able to pass. Chris Webber, same thing. Great passer. You watch the dude from Denver. He stays stationary, and Shaq was a really good passer. And you just got guys cutting. If your big man can pass, it makes it crazy. Draymond can do that. He also can just sit at the top of the three-point line, dribble, and run the point. That is not normal at all, guy.
No.
Now, granted, he is closer to most point guard size, right? He's probably with shoes on 6'6".
Yeah,
but
I mean, he's
their center.
He's Magic size. But
I think Magic's 6'9". Magic's got him by a couple inches.
Well, yeah. Well, I just mean he to me he's built more like Magic than he is built or Magic was built more like him than a center even too. But I do I think you're right. He's more underappreciated than Steph. I think the Steph underappreciation is maybe that's more an internet thing. But I do think Steph sacrificed something in terms of the overall numbers. I think he could have led the NBA in scoring for 6 straight years at over 30 points a game if he had wanted to. And I think that's part of his story is that's not what his number one priority was. But I think also the last thing I think we should address on this, it's not just about those two guys. This is about the health of the NBA too and how good for the league Steph is. And I think there's two guys on the top tier of great for the league, and it's Steph and LeBron. KD's great for the league. There are a lot of guys that are great for the league, but in terms of the top tier, give me this guy versus this guy, and that's the best television product you can put forth. I think Steph versus LeBron is – now, I'm not saying these could be the most competitive games. I'm just saying Steph versus LeBron, if you could draw it up in the NBA office, that's the best thing you could possibly have. There's no combination of two best players against one another that's better than Steph versus LeBron. LeBron versus KD is not better, I don't think, for TV ratings than Steph versus LeBron. So give him a 12 game. I mean, give him 7. You got to hope for 7 somehow. You're not getting that, but you got to hope for the play-in game.
Yeah, to me, Wednesday night's got 10 million people watching if it's those two. Because I do think it'll get built up. Well, Strauss thought that there was a chance that game does the highest rating of any game all playoffs, assuming obviously they'd
bigger
never
than
meet up.
Game 7 of an NBA Finals.
He thought there was a chance that it is bigger in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Because I ended up going on a rabbit hole the other day because I saw Bryson hit this ball. I sent you that visual of him hitting it 385, and he carried it 365. So I took the Barry Bonds home run from Game 7, or maybe it was Game 6, when he hits the ball and Tim Salmon goes, "It's the farthest ball I've ever seen hit." Then what I did is I Googled the ratings. What did that game rate? And the Game 7 of Angels Giants did 30 million people. Over the last 20 years, beside the Cubs game, which it did like 45 million people, Cubs, Indians. Like you're just going through, you're like, God, drop off. Whoa. And you're like, God, the baseball one, that was fucking good for business and Fox.
Before the Cubs had won a World Series, yeah.
Yeah, when the Yankees were involved in '09 and the Cubs were the highest 2 World Series the last like 20 years. But the Warriors, like Strauss does a lot of deep dives on the rating stuff. Like they're the biggest true draw. Now, I think the Lakers have more fans than the Warriors. Like true guy, if you meet a guy, like if you moved to Florida, I moved to Minnesota, we would just run into Laker fans. Like legit. Like I'm 50 years old. I've been a Laker fan since I could think, right? They exist way more than the Warriors. The Warriors do have, like today, I bet when that number comes out, it was higher than most NBA games. Steph going off today against the Grizzlies. He has like, damn, Steph's doing something. Even a guy that is quote unquote down on basketball, and there are a lot of those right now, just like I'm out on the NBA right now. Sunday today, you tuned in to watch him just fucking hit fadeaway threes in people I've never heard of's faces.
Yeah.
Dillon Brooks, at first I'm like, oh, Dillon Brooks can D him up. And then like as the game's going on, you're like, is Steph going to get 50?
It's hard.
Yeah.
Dillon Brooks is good. Dillon Brooks is good.
It was cool, and I could see Joe thinking this today. Next year when we're filling this place, it should be rocking because this guy is – and when you watch it, the thing if you're Joe, you got to be thinking like, it'll be hard to ever top this. Now, you know, Jerry Buss would have said that too with Magic, and ultimately you get to Kobe and Shaq, but he's kind of the franchise's like Magic or Michael. Like it's just it'll even if it's big, like they get their Kobe and Shaq after Steph, that'll be big too for the Warriors. This will be about as organic and unique as it's just ever going to be. Maybe that's why Kobe probably was so important to Lakers because they drafted him. He was their guy. Like I think if you meet a 50-year-old guy, they'd be like Magic Kobe, right? Well above Shaq or some of the guys LeBron will never sniff that. But it's like when you draft a guy and then you go to war with them and you have him your whole time, like it's pretty cool in a league where no one ever says like, I want to be here. All Steph ever says like, I'm never leaving. You know, it's the opposite of the league.
I did watch the game thinking like, why isn't Trey Lance courtside? Maybe I'd win the job.
Limitations on fans.
A couple of things from a couple of things to hit, but a couple of things from YouTube just to follow up. 6 letters says ham bone sticker would be clean. What was this other one here? Oh, Steph versus LeBron. Ludi says Steph versus LeBron, round 5. LMAO. Yeah, that'd be great. I see. Somebody said Lance was going 4 to the Falcons. Did you see the video of the Falcons draft room reacting? They were reacting when the Niners took Lance like they wanted Pitts the whole time, which I would believe.
Yeah,
but
I think it's fair.
So speaking of the Falcons, you and I wanted to hit this. I don't remember the guy's name. Did you have his name in front of you?
I do not.
This guy got basically what we call like catfished, but for a Falcons workout. Somebody from the Atlanta had an Atlanta area code, texted him.
Austin P. DB.
The guy's from Austin P. Somebody. So
Wantarius?
Wait, so he's from Austin P, and the person that was texting him was pretending to be Dean Pease? It's kind of funny. So they told him, come to Atlanta for a workout. What, he drove?
I don't know if he drove, but obviously the team didn't pay. So
this guy's
either I don't know. I don't even know where Austin P is. I'd imagine he either bought a plane ticket or because if they said, hey, come out on a tryout basis, you would have gone. Now, you would think if he had an agent, they would have called and asked, but
to make
maybe he didn't even. Maybe he doesn't have an agent.
Yeah,
and he just went.
Yeah, it was wild. So the guy, to me, this is a great example of taking something negative and handling it in a like someone might be interested in him. I don't know what his tape looks like, but it's a pretty impressive display. So what happens? He shows up. They didn't actually invite him. Somebody was texting him, messing with him, told him he had a Falcons workout. He didn't.
Can I read you? He tweeted out a pretty powerful thing. Did you? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I was no. I was going to say something else. So read that out.
He has this long. He wrote this out, but he said it's been a rough few days, but I felt like I need to clear the air and get this off my chest. Honestly, ready to move on from the situation. He wrote this. I want to say thank you to everyone who's been in my corner. While I've been pursuing my lifelong NFL dream of playing in the league, Apparently, the opportunity of attending rookie minicamp with the Falcons was not a legit opportunity. Someone contacted me from a 404 area code pretending to be Dean Pease, the coordinator of the Falcons. I did not realize it was not a legit opportunity until I traveled to the facility for rookie minicamp check-in on Wednesday, May 12th.
Ugh.
It's most definitely one of the most embarrassing things that has ever happened to me and very humbling experience. Just want to apologize to everyone and the Atlanta Falcons organization for the mix-up. I clicked on it. I honestly, I don't know or understand why this happened, but I do know that everything happens for a reason. Yes, this was heartbreaking for me. Like, this is just another stepping stone that I am not afraid to admit or overcome. At the end of the day, this will not make or break me. I mean, he's kind of I bet the Falcons were kind of thrown off, right? Especially now with the protocols. You're very you
think this guy's messing with you, maybe, right?
Yeah, it probably threw them for a pretty big loop. And in Corona, when everything is just, pretty heightened, so much on the line, that's pretty crazy.
So then ESPN reaches out to him for a comment. And he was really classy. He's like, I'm not going to comment. I don't want to keep reliving this. I said what I said. He didn't give him like a no comment, but he didn't want to do a whole other interview about it because it sucks. This has been a really awful experience for him. And then he says, I don't know if he knows who was messing with him or if he just either way, he said, and I don't want whoever did this, I don't want them to be publicly humiliated. Like, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So I'm not even trying. He's not even trying to like get revenge publicly against the person that was messing with him. I was blown away by the guy. I don't know anything about him until I read the story. That to me is incredibly impressive because I think 99% of people would go, let's, whatever the word on the internet is, what do you call it? Like, let's fire.
Cancel culture?
No, not, well, yeah, I can't. Yeah, basically. Let's firebomb this person. That's not the word. But anyway, I don't know. This guy, I don't know. Like you said, it's pretty, you can't just give out tryouts like candy here. But, and I don't know what this
you're
guy's
literally
tape looks
limited. Like. I do wonder if there's a chance, like you had him as an undrafted free agent, but you hadn't called him. Normal time, you need an extra body. Maybe you have like one of your scouts look at it and be like, yeah, just let him play. Whatever. It's harmless. What I read in Barros' article, and I saw this with Kelvin Benjamin, the chubby former wide receiver that's now a tight end for the Giants.
Yeah.
They let him, like he tried out for the Giants this week. That guy, in my experience, I don't remember guys like Marquise Lee and Kelvin Benjamin. These guys are 29 years old. Showing up rookie minicamp. Well, the reason it is you're limited the amount of people you can have. And some teams, instead of just letting quote unquote a tryout player, is typically like Guy Haberman was a backup at Fresno State, but you have good size, agent, you need a guy. You're like, oh yeah, let him try out, right? There are tons of tryout players every year non-Corona. Well, in Corona, it limits, you can't just let anyone in. So some of these teams, if you only get 5 or 10 tryout guys, have allowed some older veteran guys, Marquise Lee and Benjamin's a really good example, trying to hold on to their career and going like, well, I mean, I'm getting in front of the coach. Why? It's a pretty good opportunity, right? Like Kelvin Benjamin got signed, I saw. Like he's going to just get a chance to go to the offseason. That's all you want. But normally, like, you just have so many random tryout guys, and most of them don't amount to anything. But I think Lynch said once upon a time, I think Breda was a tryout guy, if I remember correctly. Could be wrong on that. I think the Raiders, DeAndre Washington was drafted. Maybe Jalen Richard was it happens with running backs sometimes. Yeah, because you're like little, and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, this guy was the best guy in our rookie minicamp. So it's just that you can. The sad part is reading that you can kind of envision just the look on people's faces at the check-in or when he's just like going in the front door. At Atlanta, who knows? You might need to go through a gate, right? And he's like, guys, I'm here for the tryout. What's your name?
And there's just somebody at the front desk that doesn't have his name on the thing. So he's standing there. Other people are walking around him, checking in, while the other person's like, I got John Smith here. He says he's on the list. I don't see him, Betty. And the other people are checking in. He's like, hey, what's up,
man? Yeah, it's like
hey,
Kyle Pitts is behind him. Pitts. Yeah, come on in, Kyle.
God,
that's just what's wrong with people, man. That's of all the catfish I've heard. Like, okay, catfish a date, whatever. No one shows up. That's pretty fucked up.
I mean, it's not, the worst one you've heard of.
Manti?
Yeah. Remember that thing?
The problem is the cynic in me. Like, I don't really believe it all. That one's a little fishy. Like, is that a true catfish? Was he in on it? Was he really innocent? I don't know.
If you do smart, if it was fake, he should have made it a whole YouTube out of it. He could have got like a bunch of subscribers.
I think he just got married.
Did he? Good. I've always wanted a happy ending. Just for life to play out well for him.
So did Manti. He just wanted
that's I realized that was. Quick note.
This might have been a Twitter thing, but it just Jed's pretty happy right now on the internet.
I think he thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm not making a joke. Like, I was like, what does he think right now? I was thinking that. Like, I think he thinks they could win the Super Bowl.
I think it's part of that. I also think it's like you see it happen to some people. You definitely see it happen if you, even non-famous people, but someone you either went to college with, grew up with, when they get a new girlfriend. I just follow a lot of just random people, so I see it happen too. And they're just nonstop Instagram pictures, like just at the cafe. We took the weekend down to the beach, went to Tahoe. And it's like, God, these guys are in love. And then you'll notice if they're a consistent follow, you're like, I haven't seen pictures of the two of them. It just ends. You know that honeymoon phase, though, in those people's hearts and their eyes, they're on cloud 9. I do feel like there's just this level of him. He just loves John and Kyle and what they mean to his stability of his franchise so much. And this Trey Lance thing made his franchise so powerful. Like, it's all anyone talked about. He loves his coach and GM, like, with an infinite amount of love. He's just like, I can't love these guys anymore. If I could build these guys from scratch.
And really believes in them.
Yeah, and just like and then they're so friendly to him. They're so nice. Well, it's like, yeah, you are paying them probably combined. What'd you guess? Kyle's about 10, John's about 6. I mean, it could be like 16 million between the two of them. You know, Prague ain't cheap either. I mean, he got an expensive.
Hired Al Guido away from Jerry Jones. I mean, he's.
If we did a deep dive on their core four of Kyle,
Adam Peters just got a raise.
Lynch, Guido. Okay, let's do a 5. Guido, Parag, Lynch. If we went top 5 in any organization, would they be up near the top of W2s?
I mean, you'd have to remove anybody who's like number 2. Like Jerry Jones is like, he's got 2 kids.
Yeah, no,
he's got 3 kids, I think, in the front office.
Non-family members, top 5.
Yeah, it has
They've
to be.
got to be up there. They've got, because I think most teams would have a precipitous drop after like GM coach.
What's his name? The Panthers' new owner pays a lot of money for people, but it's Rule, and then is Fitterer. I don't know how much is Fitterer making. It's just Rule.
Rule's $2 million, maybe.
Yeah. No,
he's pretty excited.
He's really excited. I know.
He's really excited,
and I think they're hanging out like having mixed drinks pretty frequently these days.
Just talking to people that were I think they got pretty fucked up last night. Which I think Jed's just been partying. Like I think he's been intoxicated now for like a month. Just intoxicated on life, intoxicated with alcohol. He's just excited. I don't necessarily blame him. It has to feel like a pretty cool time. But the problem with getting so outspoken about it, if it doesn't go well, you do set yourself up for arrows.
Yeah.
Which he's done in the past, even though he's not. His tweets are kind of – it's not like he's not making the statements that he used to, like this is unacceptable or this is going to be sweet. No, it's more just like –
just him having a good time.
Yeah, just getting wasted.
He's just enjoying the harmlessness of it all.
I tried to zoom in on different things in the picture. It was hard for me to quite figure out what was there besides just some bottles of wine and some Pellegrinos.
Cookies. Did you look like there were some jars of cookies, some different cookies on the table?
He's got young kids, yeah, so probably –
kids running in, running out, not realizing they're running. They could just ask Kyle Shanahan a question about like how many reps is Jimmy Garoppolo gonna get at the first veteran OTA? You know?
Whenever you like go to Safeway or whatever, and you walk by like the cookie aisle, it's always one where he's like, I could easily grab like a box of these sweet ass cookies.
Yeah, the L happens to me. Games are won and lost at the grocery store, not in the kitchen. Like once they're in the kitchen, ball game over.
That is a great take. If you can come out of the grocery store like, damn, I really didn't bring anything home that was that bad. You're just
won.
Tied.
You can't. You're protecting yourself against yourself. Like you texted me something today. We're out during the basketball game, like something that was, and I was like, I can't be mad. I was sitting there eating sour cream and onion, like they weren't chips. They're like
Puffs.
yeah, kind of like pot, but the flavor is the same. They just don't have the same crunch. And I was just like, I couldn't tell you anything that just happened in the last 4 minutes because these things, sour cream and onion flavoring is like cocaine to my brain. And I was the happiest those 3 minutes. But it's just, you lose track of how many you're throwing in your face. I do that. I lose track. Like, I'll be like, guy, how many mini yogurt covered pretzels do you just have? And I'd be like, fuck, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I just got full in like 3 minutes. I just did a 30-minute workout. And what just happened? Who am I? Where am I?
Where I see I'd have a problem is like little kids' birthdays. Like, oh, what do they want? Well, we can take some vanilla ice cream, take some chocolate chip cookies. I'll order these 5 pizzas. Like, it takes some serious, like skinny people. If they can maintain skinniness with kids, that's really impressive. And I do believe it's unfair to like no sugar in the house. Like, you do gotta let the kid have a little something. Like, we all had the friend that was like, this is not allowed in the home. Now, granted, my parents weren't very good at shopping for like the Gushers or any of that crap either, but I could sneak it in the house.
A couple other things real quick. Lamar Odom wants to box Jake Paul. I don't know if that's real. I don't want to spend any time on it. But apparently, I just love why apparently he wants to box Jake Paul to avenge Nate Robinson. So that's funny to me. But can you fight Lamar Odom? He's like 6'7".
Yeah, 6'7". Isn't he like 6'11"?
Is he 6'11"? I don't really remember.
I think he's huge. Yeah, no, you can't do that fight. It is Logan Paul that's fighting Floyd. That takes a little of the juice away.
Because Jake's the good fighter. Why are they doing that? Isn't Jake the better fighter?
I just think money. Yeah. I didn't even know Logan was a fighter.
I don't know. One last thing, because we have people that listen all over the country. Actually, we get some people in other countries. So, the things that the most people can identify with. But I don't think people have a problem when we go super micro. But this is not too micro, I don't think. We have a buddy who just got a head coaching job, high school football.
Oh.
Major California high school football power program. Eric Brown, absolute stud of a human being, first of all, just an all-time great. And I think it's safe to say that there was one high school football team on this show that we will be following very closely during the course of this high school football season, and that's the Clovis West Golden Eagles in California Central Valley, John. So that's awesome.
That's a big deal, man. I mean, produce a lot of, I was going to say NFL, a lot of Division I college prospects.
Yeah.
Certainly still will. I mean, I would say would you say the top program in the Valley?
I definitely say one of them.
A little,
yeah. I mean, over the years, sometimes it's Clovis, sometimes it's Central, sometimes it's a few times.
But if you just did California, you'd probably go like modern day, De La Salle, now Folsom. I mean, historically, Clovis West maybe not be on De La Salle's level, but it would be in the tier of like top 8 or 10 programs in the state, right?
I don't know if it would be quite that high. That's a good question.
Maybe
because I think you got your Helix, you got your Bosco, you got your Oaks Christian, you got your Folsom.
LA's got some, yeah.
I don't think it'd be quite that high, but I do know this: like the Central Valley is part.
Get ready for them to climb back up the rankings, guy.
You're damn right about that. Maybe we could send some players that way. California is a major college football state. The Central Valley is a major part of California football. Clovis West is a major part of Central Valley football. So, it's just – I mean, you were part of recruiting in a college football program. I just covered a lot of high school football. It's just a major program. It's big-ass stadium they play in.
Well, when I was at Fresno State,
although
their
I don't
quarterback,
think it's theirs, but.
Their quarterback, Jeff Toole, ended up starting in the NFL. Actually, he went to Washington State, obviously. He was the first ever undrafted free agent to start week 1. Because remember, the Bills had a bunch of injuries, and he ended up starting the game.
Yeah.
Jeff Toole was starting quarterback. Travis Brown, was a huge recruit. Eric's brother. Yep. I mean, Eric played at Fresno State.
If you remember the old Fresno State football teams with Pat Hill, his dad, Dan Brown, was the defensive coordinator and just a major figure in the community and a really good football coach. So congrats, Eric. We're thrilled for you. By the way, Sam in the chat says Lamar is 6'10". Is Lamar in good health? Is Lamar, honest question, bounce back? Or?
No, it's a good question.
Okay. All right. On that note, more videos, pods coming this week. Obviously, get the mailbag. Oh, one last thing. I don't have an answer for this, but somebody asked this question earlier. I just wanted to. Dan said, "Can I leave a review on iTunes as an Android user? I listen to your YouTube and iHeart." We have not figured out a solution for the mailbag or for non-iTunes users yet. I don't know if that's IGDMs or something like that. Right now, we do it for the iTunes reviews. But I don't know.
My question could be out of ignorance. Why would you not get an Apple iPhone? Like, what would be the drive? Just you've always been an Android guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think people like Alyssa has Samsung. She hates the iPhone. She refuses to get an iPhone.
You just get comfortable with something. I get it, right?
A lot of people say she says the keyboard somehow is better.
I used to be an anti-Mac computer guy. Got one. I could never go back.
Clearly a lot of people. I mean, there's a whole Samsung's I think they're doing well. Big company.
Yeah, but I think Apple's got
Apple's.
I mean, they're doing well.
I mean, they're massive.
Heard of them?
Yeah, heard of them. Carl, one of the guys. I remember this name from making the Carl got his ham hat. Love it. All right, good. All right. On that note, have a great week, everybody. Oops. Have a great week, everybody, and get in the DraftKings game. Big PGA Championship this week.
Let's go.